Good morning. It is a very cool September morning. It is only 56 degrees out here. It's about, let's see what time, it's 9:37. And so, can you hear the donkeys? They're getting wound up. I love it. So, I wanted to talk this morning in the garden about success. How do you define success? So I looked it up. I looked up in the Webster's Dictionary, and I also looked up in the Bible. Sorry, I accidentally shut the camera off. I looked up what it means or what the Bible says about success. Now, let me find it here. Okay, I put my glasses on. Okay, the Bible defines success as more than wealth or status. It is rooted in obedience to God's will, a deep relationship with Him, and living a life that honors Him. And then there's some key principles about biblical success. God promises success to those who obey Him and meditate on His word. Success is found in knowing and walking in His ways, loving Him and serving Him with all your heart. Success begins with surrendering to God's plans, even when they differ from your own, leading to a deeper contentment beyond worldly achievements. The Bible encourages hard work and using your talents wisely, as lazy hands leads to poverty, while diligent hands bring success. Now, I do feel like I am led or called to be a gardener, to be a teacher. I feel like God has given me the talent of gardening and teaching, and I love to use those together. The dictionary defines success as the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. So again, how do you define success? I am sitting here in a dried up garden, and yet I say it is a success. It was a success. It is still a success. Part of my goal as a gardener is to feed my family, to share with friends and family, to teach about gardening, inspire you to grow something, even if it's just in a pot on your patio. There is something so special about having your hands in the soil and essentially honoring God with what you're doing. Does God say I have to grow all my own food and not go to the grocery store? Absolutely not. But I do want to feed my family nourishing food. I love that I grow some of it myself. I love that I can share with friends and family. I love that I can teach. So today, as we walk through the garden, I want to show you some of what you may not think is a success, but I do. And I will explain why. First off, right here behind me are dead tomato plants. They look horrible. They need to be torn out. This bed needs to be amended and gotten ready for next year. I also have some of my tools laying here in the bed. This bed has kind of become a bit of a catch-all, mostly so things are not out in the grass and get run over by the lawnmower. I got to stick them somewhere. And my gardening shed is a good, 200 feet away, which is not a long distance. But for me to carry everything back and forth every day that I'm going to use it, well, for me, that's a pain in the neck. So I leave a lot of it out here. And then when the season is completely over, I clean all this up, put it back in the garden shed to store for winter. Right next to these dead tomato plants, turn you a little bit, is a jalapeno plant that was supposed to be a it was called something grande, and they were supposed to be these gigantic jalapenos, and it's supposed to be so prolific. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 peppers on there right now. It has taken the entire season to get those 8 peppers. I have picked 2 earlier in the season. Is that a success? Sure it is. Were these dead tomato plants a success? Yes. I was able to freeze enough tomatoes that I haven't done anything with them yet except peel them and freeze them. I'm going to have enough to make a batch of pizza sauce, which my goal for this year was to put up 1 batch of pizza sauce. We still have some from last year. So 1 batch will be plenty. I think there's probably still going to be enough tomatoes after that I have in the freezer to just do some crushed tomatoes that I will use for soups. I had big plans for the jalapenos. I wanted to make cowboy candy, but that is not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is harvest these peppers, and I don't like to eat jalapenos myself. I do like to use them in things, but I don't have a need for those right now. So I'm going to pick those and I'm going to share them with friends and family. And that is fantastic. So let's go look at a few other things. Okay. Hi, Sassy. So here in this bed behind me was my popcorn and celery. The popcorn grew, it tasseled, it produced nothing. I am not going to get even 1 ear of popcorn. Now here is a tiny, tiny ear that started to develop. Ooh. And I'll show you, there is nothing inside. That was my first time growing popcorn. Do I consider it a success? Yes, because it has been an experience. I believe that next year I will not put it in a raised bed. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I did put it out a little late. Maybe that was the issue. Maybe it was just too hot and dry here late in the summer. I don't know, but it's a learning experience. And so I will plant popcorn again, and I will make some changes for next year. My celery did not do well. It never got any bigger than this. However, last year, I put up enough celery. I probably still have enough celery for 2 more years. That's okay. So again, this bed was a success. Early in the spring, this bed had broccoli and cauliflower in it and did not produce a lot, had big, beautiful plants. So I probably had too much nitrogen in the soil, a bit of an imbalance. I got a couple broccoli heads, a couple cauliflower heads, and they were delicious. Down further in the garden, I had, I think 16 or 18 broccoli and cauliflower. I was able to put enough of that up for winter. We ate fresh until we were sick of it, and I shared with friends and family. So again, a success. What else can I show you here? All right, let's see. Oh, in this bed where the popcorn is, also a whole bunch of dill came up voluntarily. I didn't even know it was in that bed. And I was able to use that dill to make all of my pickles, my pickled carrots, and my pickled green beans. I didn't have to buy any dill. And so that bed provided exactly what I needed. Here on this trellis, again, dead, dried up plants. This side was honey nuts, honey nut squash. We've eaten a few already, and I have a milk crate full on the back porch that I was able to harvest, and we will store that for winter. I probably will share some with friends and family this weekend, and it was fabulous. Now the squash bugs did take over. They were disgusting, but a honey nut squash is somewhat pest resistant. And so that's one reason I grow that one. And they are a very small portion, perfect for my husband and I. And so that was wonderful. This side here was the Tromboncino, first time ever growing Tromboncino. It was also supposed to be pest resistant. I was able to put up enough Tromboncino to use as a zucchini replacement, plenty for winter. We ate it fresh, and I gifted some to friends and family. Again, the squash bugs took over, but even though they disturbed the plants somewhat, they did not disturb the fruit and did not keep the plant from producing fruit. So I will probably, I don't know, I say this every year, I'm not going to grow any kind of squash next year because I don't want the squash bugs. But I don't know, both of these are very, they're prolific, they're delicious, and the bugs didn't seem to bother them. So I don't know. Right now I'm thinking I'm not going to grow them again, but I know myself well enough to know that next year I probably will. So a success. This bed next to the Tromboncino, we started out the season with onions, carrots, and garlic was in here, and beets. First time ever being able to pickle golden beets. I'm gonna go around the other side. They are so pretty in the jar and absolutely delicious. I had wanted to grow more so that I could do another round of canning pickled beets. That didn't work out. That's okay. Carrots, I harvested all the carrots. I've got them put up in the freezer for winter. They are going to be so good in soups and stews, chicken pot pie, all those delicious things this winter. The onions that were in here were a success. If you have been following along with my channel, you know that I grew softball size onions in this bed. What else? The garlic. Garlic was a little bit of a disappointment this year, although still successful. I planted between these two beds 72 cloves of garlic. So I should have gotten at least 70 to 72 cloves, or not cloves, but heads of garlic. I was able to harvest 18. Most of them rotted just in the ground. They rotted. They turned to mush. I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong. But those 18 I have been able to use in making my pickles, the pickled green beans, the pickled carrots, using them fresh to eat. I've gifted some to friends and family. And I still have, I think I have probably 4 or 5 heads left, and that will be fine. If I have to purchase garlic, it'll be okay. I was able to dehydrate some of it and make my own garlic powder. I have the garlic scapes chopped and frozen in the freezer, so I can use that all winter. And I think it's going to be just fine. It's almost time for me to buy garlic again to plant for the next season. I tried to do a fall garden in here. I planted broccoli, I planted carrots and beets and dill, and there are just a couple tiny little broccoli sprouts. They were all looking wonderful, and the roly-polies came through and grasshoppers came through and absolutely wiped them out. Along with the beets and the carrots and the dill. There are a couple carrots in here I see that have been eaten. The tops have been eaten, and I think I just missed those from harvesting earlier in the year. So I'm going to pull those carrots. I'm going to amend this bed and get it ready for winter. I haven't decided, since my garlic rotted in these 2 beds, I may do garlic in the 2 beds behind me this time, or I may put them in the big in-ground garden. I'm not sure. Next to me, next to these 2 beds, are my 2 beds of asparagus. And they are an absolute grassy, weedy mess. But this was the first planting for these 2 beds. And this is exactly what I wanted them to do. I needed them, there's a little bug on there now. I needed them to grow their fronds, dry up, okay? They're turning yellow. That's okay, because that means those nutrients are going back down into the crowns. These will turn dry and brittle. And in the spring, I will come through and I will cut all this down, and new asparagus will come up. If it is bigger than the size of a number 2 pencil, you can tell I'm a teacher. I call it a number 2 pencil and not just pencil. If they're bigger than a number 2 pencil, we will harvest them and eat them. If they are smaller, we will let this process happen again. They will grow their fronds. They will turn yellow, bringing those nutrients back to the crowns. The next year, they'll be bigger. And so, excuse me, I do know between these 2 beds, I have 75 asparagus crowns, which is way too many. So I am going to have to separate them at some point. And I really, I see a broccoli plant that's a little bigger. I really would like to add a couple beds to put those in. Is that going to happen this year? May not. We'll see. Okay, so this bed, I'm going to put you back far enough you can see it. There we go. So this bed, I also did the broccoli, the dill, the carrots, the beets for fall. Same thing, roly-polies and grasshoppers, took it out. I do see over there is a little broccoli sprout that's about probably 4 inches tall. I'm not expecting it to do great things, but that's okay. This bed was one of my first raised beds. It really needs to be topped off with some more soil or maybe more composted manure, amended and gotten ready for spring. On the trellis, I have a sweet potato by accident and my snail vine. I have been waiting all year for the snail vine to bloom. I love snail vine. It doesn't bloom until fall, and I wish you could smell this. We did have some really hot days, hot, dry days. I'm going to set my coffee down. And I do think that affected some of the blooms because some of them are dropping. But I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see these blooms. Look at these. They are so pretty and just smell incredible. I've got them, they're up here on top of the trellis. They're right up here. Look at that. The first time I saw snail vines, they was at Baker Creek, and I'm excited I get to go again in a few weeks. I'm going to go to their fall festival. My daughter and I are going. I'm going to try to get my mom to go too. And one of the speakers is P. Allen Smith, and I'm excited for that. Look at these. Just look at that. So the first time I saw these, they were on a trellis like this, and they had really long corkscrew blooms. And that's of course, what I was hoping for. I do wish they bloomed all summer because they are just so magnificent, but I will take what I can get. And I wish I could capture that scent. It is just fantastic. On the other side of the snail vine, these were my cantaloupes. Again, they were supposed to be jumbo cantaloupes. They were a little bit bigger than a softball. And the very first one I harvested, it was tasty, but not scrumptious. And all of the others after that, they were just flavorless. Some of them started rotting on the vine. Some of them got some bug damage. And successful, yes. I was able to get cantaloupe to grow. I was able to get it to produce something. And I will try again next year. So let's move on to the in-ground garden. Oh, here at the end, I'll tell you about this first. So this, what did this bed have in it? Ground cherries, and I don't even remember what else before I put the tomatoes and jalapeno in there. I don't remember. But this trellis on the end had the Lisboa cucumbers, my absolute favorite cucumber for growing and for pickling, for fresh eating. It does all the things. And I had hoped it would grow to the top and across to the other trellis, and it did. It made it about 1.5 feet. And then we had so we've had a really crazy weather season. Early spring, late spring, early summer, so much rain. So much rain that things rotted. It was great for some plants, not great for other plants. I'm not complaining because we needed that rain. And then we went to extreme heat. The rain just cut off and we went to extreme heat. And so that was troublesome for the cucumbers, and they died. I was able to make plenty of pickles, sweet pickles, dill pickles. I did not get any bread and butter pickles made this year, but that's okay. I still have a few jars from last year. I did not get any sweet relish made. That's okay. I have some from last year. I did make some zucchini relish using zucchini from the freezer from a few years ago. But this worked out really, really well. Now for fall, I came through and planted sugar snap peas, and they got to be about 6 inches, and the grasshoppers. Grasshoppers are destructive, and that's okay. They've got to eat too, right? So here are potato bags. Riley did, my son's girlfriend, Riley planted a couple tubs of regular potatoes and a couple tubs of sweet potatoes, and then I planted 5 tubs of sweet potatoes. I don't know if we're going to get anything. The grasshoppers have just been so destructive, and then the extreme heat, which sweet potatoes do like the heat, but I was not very good at keeping them watered after all of that intense rain. When Riley dug one of her bags of potatoes, they were so beautiful. The potatoes were nice sized, and then she cut them open and they were black in the middle. So I'm not sure what happened with that, but we will dig sweet potatoes at the end of this month. It takes 120 days for sweet potatoes, and September 30th is 120 days. So we will get those out of here this month. This grassy mess right here next to the potato bags, that was my onions, and I had ordered my onions from Dixondale Farms out of Texas. I ordered the variety called Candy. It was a sweet yellow onion. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. I think I planted 48 little starts, and I believe 2 did not make it. So lots of onions, delicious softball size. Some of them, not all were softball size. There was a few that were more like baseball size, and so still delicious, able to share, able to put up for winter, able to eat fresh. Fantastic. Now, let's talk about the corn. So this was sweet corn. I had to plant this sweet corn 3 times just to get germination. And we have not eaten any of it. It did produce a few ears, but the extreme heat made the corn tough and flavorless. And so, is it a success? Sure it is. I now have corn stalks for fall decorations. I would have loved to have eaten all that corn, shared that corn, but that just didn't happen, and that's okay. We'll try again next year. The zinnias, oh my gosh, can you see all of these zinnias? They are gorgeous. I have come through and saved several heads for seed. All of this was saved seed from last year and the year before. But for the most part at this point, I've just been letting it drop its seeds, and I expect to have lots of volunteers next year. Although, with one of the changes I'm going to make for next year, I may not get any volunteers. I have already purchased it, and I am planning to cover this entire in-ground garden with weed barrier, and to help with the weeds and the moisture control. So right now where I'm standing, I'm losing my shade, guys, so the lighting is going to probably get bad. This was green beans. I picked several times. I still had a lot of green beans left from last year, canned and in the pantry. And so with what I had already and with what I grew this year, we will have plenty of beans for the year. This is okra. Oh, I see. I need to pick some okra. There's a few on there that have gotten actually too big. I cannot stand okra. My husband likes it occasionally. My children like it occasionally. And I typically pickle it and give it away. Behind me, behind where the green beans were, this is where my pumpkins were. And I had 3 yellow squash here beyond the okra. The squash vine borers took out 2 of the 3 yellow squash. The 3rd yellow squash produced so incredibly much. Scott and I are not big fans of yellow squash, but I will cook it into things, and that worked out great. I mainly grew that for Jeremy and Riley, and I was able to give them so much yellow squash. I gave it to friends and family. I did shred some of it to put in the freezer, and all of that off of one plant. And then the squash vine borers got it too. The squash vine borers got all of my pumpkins. I had, I can't remember, I think 4 pumpkin plants, and they were beautiful, and they were growing out. Our land right here at the edge of the garden, oh, hello butterfly, you scared me, slopes down to the gravel road. And so those pumpkin plants were sprawling down over that hill, and it was so pretty. And squash vine borers took them out. So I did pick 2 pumpkins, 2 Blue Hubbards, and one, when I picked it, the side had rotted out of it. So it went to the chickens. The other Blue Hubbard I was able to pick. I put it on the back porch to cure, and it has also started to rot. So it will probably also go to the chickens. This row is my peppers. Let me move you over here so you can see them. So this first pepper plant is I think it was called Big Bertha. My mom gifted me that plant. Immediately was able to pick 3 nice sized bell peppers. And after that, it has not produced anything until recently. And they are teeny tiny like this. No way a Big Bertha pepper. This one is also a bell pepper, and it has tiny, tiny peppers. So I've got, I think, 1, 2, 4 bell pepper plants, and all we have gotten off of them are those 3 at the beginning. This one is a Notapeno, and it has several on here, but they're teeny tiny. That's a Notapeno is a jalapeno that's not hot. Then we have one of my favorites, which is Advarsky. It's a red sweet pepper. They are so teeny tiny, but just now producing. And then down here at the end, we have something called a Pippin's Golden Honey, which is a sweet snacking pepper. And let me show you this. This is what they're producing. And this is supposed to be like those bags of snacking peppers you get at the grocery store. So, not sure what happened. The plants have really, really struggled to even grow. They finally have some height on them. They have been fertilized. They have, up until recent, have been kept weed free. But that's okay. I am still using peppers that I put up last year. And I probably still have plenty for the year. So it's okay. This row is an absolute mess. So I did have tomatoes in here, which you can see a few tomatoes here. They have produced the tiniest little tomatoes. I do think I will not ever put tomatoes and green beans together in this fashion on a trellis like this. The green beans were so big and bushy and beautiful and completely shaded out the tomatoes. All of the beans on this trellis can be eaten as green beans, but they can also be dried for drying beans. And so let me show you this one. This one's really not, let me find one that's dry. We got rain yesterday, so there's not too much that's actually dry. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna pull this one. So these, and I've got like, I think 3 or 4 different kinds of beans on this trellis. You can let them make their pod, okay? Leave them on the trellis, leave them on the plant to fill out with seeds. Let the pods dry, and then you get beans that can then be stored as dried beans like you buy in the store, or you can pressure can these. They make a delicious side dish. You could use these to make refried beans, chilies, soups, ham and beans, just, all the bean dishes. And they are delicious. So this is actually doing what I need it to do. It is dying back. That's okay. The pods are filling up with seeds. I'll show you this one. This one is a purple pod, okay? See though, I mean, it's full of seeds. Now, since I've picked this one, it's not going to dry appropriately, but I'm going to open this up to show you. Look, beans inside, okay? So this is what I need for it to be doing. Now, the grasshoppers have come through and kind of mowed down the tops of the plants, but there are lots and lots of beans filling out and drying on the plants. So probably, oh, there's a nice little tomato. Oh, I dropped it. Well, I said it was nice. It's got a black hole. Okay, we'll leave it. The tomatoes, yep, not going to do that again. That's okay. Another learning experience. And yes, it is a success. Let me show you these beans. These are so pretty. You see that? They're green with purple stripes. Isn't that pretty? So something else I want to change for next year. I love having my little yard lights out here. I just think it makes such a beautiful ambiance in the garden at night. But my husband found an article in the Missouri Department of Conservation magazine that all of the little yard lights are messing with the circadian rhythm of the pollinators. And pollinators are so important for a successful garden. And so, yeah, I'm going to take out all my lights and I won't be using them again next year. I probably will leave my, I have a dragonfly, what do you call it? Wind chime, a dragonfly wind chime that lights up, solar powered. I probably will move it to my little seating area where I have a shepherd's hook. But I'm going to take out all the rest. I really hate that, but I need those pollinators. I need for them to help me be successful. So the front flower beds are looking gnarly because they need to be trimmed and some things need to be separated. They need to be put away for winter. The green stalk, I planted fall greens, and a couple of the lettuces are coming up, but nothing else. That's okay. Those will be delicious. My, this is my little seating area. And so I can sit here and cool off from a hot morning in the garden. I can sit here with a friend and visit. I can sit here and have my coffee or my ice water, my iced tea, whatever, lemonade. Although usually when I sit down, the cat comes and tries to get in my lap. But let me turn the camera and show you what I see from my sitting area. All right, look at that, friends. Absolute gorgeous success. I grew food. I shared with family and friends. I put up food for winter. And now it's time to let it all go to bed and be planted again in the spring. So, if you are new to my channel, my name is Michelle. I should have introduced myself at the beginning. I'm so sorry. I am gardening in mid-Missouri. I don't even know the zone. It changed recently, so I don't even know. I could Google it, but maybe I'll Google it and put it on the screen. We have been at this property for 5 years, so this is my 5th garden season at this property, and it is successful. It is what I want it to be. I have reached my goals in gardening for this year. One of these days, I will retire from teaching. I'm getting close, and I will be able to continue into the fall with gardening, continue into the fall with being diligent with watering and weeding and taking care of all the things. And I would love to have a little farm stand out here. I've been to the farmer's market and set up. I don't like their rules. I don't like them telling me what I can and cannot do. I'm kind of rebellious that way. But also, when I went to the farmer's market, my little cow fell off the table. I got to pick him up. When I went to the farmer's market, I was selling plant starts. I was selling jams and jellies. I was selling fresh baked bread. And so was every other person at the farmer's market. I don't have anything special that people don't already have, that people aren't already selling. And so what's going to make someone come to my table versus the table right next to me that has the exact same things? However, I have sold things here at my house. I have put on Facebook, hey guys, I'm baking bread on Saturday. Who would like some? And I put them on a tote or in a tote on my front porch so my lovely darling Daisy does not get into them. And a jar for money, and people come by and they get their bread off my front porch. So if I can do that out here, why can't I continue with that? Oh, my phone is shutting off for some reason, or my camera, I mean. Give me a second.